now, but I do know who's responsible for it, and that's Hamas, because they're using schools as weapons depots. And I think it would be a disservice to your viewers for a reporter from Gaza not to mention that in the last week we had 2 different UNRWA schools where we had actually rockets found in the schools and handed over to Hamas. I also think it's a disservice.
These are 2 different UN schools, you're saying?
That's correct. That's publicly available information. It's kind of an important fact for your reporter to mention. And in addition to that, he may have wanted to mention a statement that was made by, not by the Israeli ambassador, not by the spokesman of the IDF, but by the UN Secretary General yesterday. And I want to read you what he said yesterday, not last year, yesterday. He said this: the Secretary General is alarmed to hear that rockets were placed in an UNRWA school in Gaza and that subsequently these have gone missing. He expresses his outrage and regret at the placing of weapons in a UN-administered school. By doing so, now listen, Aaron, exactly what he says. By doing so, those responsible are turning schools into potential military targets and endangering the lives of innocent children, UN employees working in such facilities, and anyone using the UN schools as shelter.
Just not if you can hear me. Is there anyone home? Come on now. I hear you're feeling down. Well, I can ease your pain.
Do not think that it's relevant to report on CNN that the Secretary General of the United Nations yesterday warned against the use of UN schools and shelter for rocket missile depots of Hamas?
Well, thanks to outlets like CNN, has been turned into the villain in this particular scenario, and a moral equivalency has been drawn between the 2 groups. If Hamas could have come up with any sort of outlet that could have created a will to kill more Jewish babies and Palestinian babies, CNN would have been it. I mean, CNN is a key factor in drawing the same sort of equivalency that Hamas.
There is no pain you are receding. A distant ship, smoke on the horizon. You are only coming through in waves.
Question, and the reason that we're showing these pictures, because these are dead children. Would Israel have taken the time to confirm that those children were out of the school before you fired? Send someone in to look? Or do you think it's okay that you issued the warning and then just went ahead and fired?
Well,
if there were kids there, that's their problem.
I think you have no basis for making the statement that you just made. Of course we wouldn't fire directly, but I don't know what happened in that school. What I understand is we gave people days to get out of that area. This is in the northern Gaza Strip. There's a good chance that it may have been a Hamas rocket that hit it. I don't know if somebody fired, a Hamas fighter fired directly from that school at our military who's operating there, and then we responded to fire. I don't know the facts. I do know that there's children, and I don't blame the media. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming the media for showing the pictures. What I'm blaming the media is for not connecting the dots.
We're not allowed to show the civilians caught in the crossfire?
Of course you're allowed to show civilians caught in the crossfire. You should also mention all the restrictions that Hamas puts on your reporting inside the Gaza Strip. You should also mention all the context with regard to Hamas putting children in harm's way. You should also routinely mention the fact that Hamas's charter calls for the destruction not only of the state of Israel, but for the murder of Jews across the world, which of course CNN does not.
And that subsequently these have gone missing. He expresses his outrage and regret at the placing of weapons in a UN-administered school. By doing so, now listen, Aaron, exactly what he says. By doing so, those responsible are turning schools into potential military targets and endangering the lives of innocent children, UN employees working in such facilities, and anyone using the UN schools as shelter. This is yesterday. Do you not think that it's relevant to report on CNN?
Your lips move, but I can't hear what you're saying. When I was a child, I had fever. My hands felt just right to balloons. Now I've got that feeling once again. I can't explain, you will not understand. This is not how I am.
But Aaron, I've been listening for 2 hours of reports on CNN. I have seen split screens, horrible pictures, horrible pictures that any decent human being would be horrified by. I have not heard a single person say what I just said to you now. And I think that that does a disservice to your viewers to not give them the context they need to make these judgments. Hamas is placing missile batteries in schools, in hospitals, in mosques, and there must be outrage by the world at Hamas.